Hey, what's up, for Life Without Pants with another Path of Exile video, and in today's video we're going to go over our league starter. It's going to be Lightning Arrow Artillery Ballista again. We started this last league and it's seen almost, well, there's no touches to it in the patch notes other than obviously Vengeance Cascade is dead. But fortunately, I was sleeping on Vengeance Cascade, so I didn't include it in the last one, so there's no changes. The patch notes, a lot of people found them quite lackluster. We were promised a big meta shake-up. We didn't really get it, I don't think, but I'm still hyped. So this is a, we've got a T16 map here. This is some higher end gear, I guess. I think I've played this one for about 23 hours, and so it's at level 90, and it's got a couple of uniques. So it's basically, and it's got a 6-link. So it's basically got the Shadows and Dust, we got the Here's Truth and the Poised Prism. These are the things I would consider mandatory for the crit swap in this build. So let's just see how this plays. I've got another version as well we can look at. Rampage obviously does a lot of work in this build. It's really, really fantastic mechanic. I put a Legion Scarab in here as well so we can see what it performs like with Legion on day one. Legion, now we know there's going to be the Schisms, which seems like it's going to be a way to prioritize Legion early on. If you just, say you just want to go and get the rewards and you don't want to break out any of the white mobs, then that's probably going to be really, really good. So I think actually, if anything, our ability to do Legions early is buffed. Obviously, there's a bit of a loot nerf to Legions, so because of the nerf to 5-way stuff. So I think the emblems are going to sell for a lot less. The emblems already weren't the moneymaker in Legion, though. They were good. Don't get me wrong; they were really good, but they weren't everything that you needed. Because the thing is with Legion, it drops everything. It drops, loot from pretty much every league. So it was already really, really good. The loot tiles, or the loot templates as they're called, they drop a ton of loot and they drop it frequently. So as you can see, we're cutting through this this map pretty easily. We'll go do the Weaver as well, or not the Weaver, but the Queen of the Jungle Valley. Not going to be in the next patch, which is a shame, but we got Misa back, but at what cost? But this build, honestly, it's Lightning Arrow, it's Artillery Ballista. The Lightning Arrow is for clear, the Artillery Ballista is for single target. So as you can see, the single target on this, I actually need to use one of my life flasks. Oh, we've got knockback as well, which is nice. But yeah, the Artillery Ballista does a ton of single target. It's so good. It's really, really, really performant. That's what I would say this is. The gear's nothing special here. We do got a 6-link, but it's a corrupted one, and it's just, it's something we bought off trade. This is definitely day one purchasable. This is just a regular, but we've only got one thing in here, and it's Purity of Elements, but this is just a fractured helmet. I think we've got fractured lightning resistance boots. I'm not even sure if we've done, oh yeah, we have done the last lab. The gear here is not insane by any stretch of the imagination. Poised Prism, I think, can be a little bit expensive at the beginning of the league, but in the first 8 hours, and then after that, it's... Oh, we can actually go and have a look on PoE Ninja. So, PoE Ninja... So I remember trying to buy a Poised Prism for this build last league, and the first one was 1 div, the first one on the market, and then, it doesn't go any further back. So the first one was 1 div, and then that stayed there for, I think, 2 hours or something, and I was really, really wanting to get it, because then you don't have to ever change your Poised Prism, or your quiver ever again. And that's quite a nice feeling. And then I think the next one after that was like 40C or something, and then it was 20, and then it was 10. And I bought it at 20, and if I'd have waited 1 extra hour, I'd have paid 2. Anyway, the bow, not a huge amount of DPS, 777, pretty mid to be honest. and this is where we put our clear skill in here, because if you're in T16s, you need to be able to take down those bosses. So the clear I would put on a 5-link, and the single target on a 6-link. And if you get 2 6-links, great. For me though, I always just try and get one 6-link straight away. So that's what it looks like for, I think, a 24-hour. I think I got this one here, and this one is basically, this was just a solo self-found, and then once we got the time, we moved it into the league. So this one is 9 hours 37 minutes. The gear, look, we got a single 5-link. Do we even have capped res? I'm not. It could be really, really bad, this build. It's lots of the SSF runs I did they were pretty. Oh yeah, we got loads of res. Oh, tons of res. And this is I think, yeah, we got very lucky with this bow. It's 834. Just some res rings. We got 26 maximum life on our chest piece. I think some of these are item level 70, some are item level 28. We found a Poised Prism in SSF, and we found Giant's Bane as well, which are both pretty useful uniques, it turned out, for this build. But again, this is 9 hours, 9.5 hours, and we can just throw in a level 12 Jungle Valley, and we'll see how it performs. I think around 9.5 hours is when I'm just getting to red maps, so I imagine we're going to, this is going to be okay. And when you get to red maps, yeah, see, the clear's not too bad. Most of the white mobs die with 1 hit. And this is also, this important to note, the previous version was the crit version. And this, which you can swap to after a little while. And this is the precise technique version. So the clear, not terrible. We're still using mana at this point as well. So in the crit version, you're swapping to life tap, because then you don't ever have to worry about mana anymore, and you can swap into you can change out your mana flask for a different flask, so something that gives you a lot of damage. So this is not too shabby for 9 hours into the game. It's enough to get yourself to all of the Ubers and that kind of stuff. Probably not to do Ubers though. I wouldn't suggest doing Ubers, but you can definitely do the campaign bosses with this. So you could do Eta and Exarch with this, no problems. I did it last league as well. And then for me, I'm always, I'm trying to farm a week 1 Maze Blood each league. So, or Headhunter or Maze Blood, whatever. One of the chase uniques usually is what I'm going for, because then it allows me to sit on my butt and do science and try and figure out like good farming strategies for other people. So this is what it looks like after less than 10 hours. We're in T12 maps, and we don't have much problem. So the damage is not amazing for this. I think the single target's still in just a 4-link here, actually. So that's something I wouldn't recommend. But as you can see, we're killing the Queen of the Tangle. I'm gonna move now straight into the POB section. So we've got a POB for the build. Ooh, there we go. We killed the Queen of the Tangle. Get out of here. This also, I'm just going to show you the gear on this. Like we checked out the gear first, but the links, we got elemental damage with attack, Mirage Archer, GMP, Lightning Arrow, and Trinity support for our 5-link, which is just for clear. And then this is with a 4-link. So you can be in T12 maps with a 4-link on your single target and still be pretty comfortable. But obviously once you get a 5-link or a 6-link, then it's way, way better. Anyway, let's talk about the POB. All right, so let's look at our skill trees. So for Act 1, I've got Act 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then white maps and Uber Lab, yellow maps and Frenzy, and red maps and crit versions of this. Pretty similar to the last time, but there are a few differences, because some things just, I've done a lot of SSF playthroughs on this, and some things just make sense. There are a few things that I have refined, and there are some more options available to us, which is super nice. So, Act 1, you're just going to pop over here to Ballistics, and then we're going to take Heart of Oak, then I take Aspect of Eagle, and then Finesse. And that's going to get us a ton of damage, bit of life. For Act 2, we're going to come straight down to precise technique. We're making a beeline for precise technique because this gives us 40% more attack damage if our accuracy rating is higher than our life, and we never deal crits. Now, 40% more is a lot. It's a lot of damage. And we have to make sure that our accuracy rating is always higher than our life. And how can you do that? You can literally go into, press C, and I see life here, 3032. And then in my offense, main hand accuracy rating, 5691. So 5691 is more than 3032. So I'm fine. Check this at least once an act and make sure this is at least 20 to 30% more than your life, because it's good to have a nice, a nice comfy barrier there. At one point I had too much life and I was wondering why my damage fell off, and then I checked this and it was exactly why. So this is a really powerful keystone, super powerful, as long as we remember to get lots of accuracy. So the first one we're going to get is, our first mastery is going to be 100 accuracy rating per green socket on equipped bow. Now, once we're done in Act 2, we're going to add in these here. So one with nature gives us a ton of, it gives us some LE resistances, which is nice, but it gives us a ton of elemental damage with attacks. And also we're going to take intuition, gives us a little bit of suppress, not very much, but 5% increased life, and evasion rating, which is pretty good to evade stuff, get out of the way. Primal spirit, really important. 20 strength, 20 intelligence. This build is strength and intelligence starved. We're on the right hand side of the tree, lots and lots of dex nodes, not that many strength and intelligence nodes, and we want to use a few strength and int gems, so this is quite important. Then we're also going to take aspects of the links as well, so another 20% increased attack damage, really, really good, and some move speed. So even if we don't get move speed boots, which I am almost famous for never getting move speed boots, we're going to get something, we're going to get a little something. Then in Act 4, we're going to do a slight respec. We can do a comparison here with Act 3 and Act 4, and you will see there is 1 point missing here. This is really, really useful. But basically, we're just going to come across the tree. We're going to pick up herbalism to get some extra life. We're going to take the 50% of maximum life mastery as well. Not sure why that's not ticked. And then we're going to go over here to Master Fletcher. Bow attacks fire an additional arrow. And obviously in Act 4, you're going to get GMP as well, greater multiple projectiles, and you can swap that out with lesser multiple projectiles. So this is going to give you loads more arrows, really, really good. And as you can see here, required level 35. So this is around the time we're doing our first lab as well, and we've put that in here. So we're ascending as Raider, and we're taking Onslaught. So, and we get 15% increased effective Onslaught on you. So Onslaught gives you 20% increased move speed and attack speed. So this is already going to give us 20% move speed to zoom through the campaign quick, quick, quick. So this really, really good. This also really, really good. Then we're going to go into Act 5. We're going to go off and kill Kitava, and we're taking the totem attack and play speed this side of the totem wheel. Now the reason we're taking this side is the other side is crits. We don't do crits. But on this side it's attack speed. And then Watchtowers gives us +1 maximum number of summoned Ballista totems. So this is going to increase our DPS significantly on single targets. We're taking these accuracy and attack speed wheels because then we're going to make sure that we do not exceed our accuracy rating with our life rating. And I've found it pretty difficult, honestly, to do it, but it's good to check every so often, and it's good to make sure. And for our Bowmaster, we've taken 100% increased Mirage Archer duration. This is so nice because you can attack once and you run through the campaign and you attack once and you see your Mirage Archer killing a bunch of people around you, getting you flask charges, so you can zoom even faster. Okay, so let's go on to Act 6. Now, at this point, we're coming up here and we're taking multi-shots. So this is attacks fire an additional projectile. This is another breakpoint for artillery ballista is when you get 2 extra arrows, or 2 extra projectiles rather. And we get one here with multi-shot and we get another one here with Master Fletcher. So this is going to be a big breakpoint for our damage as far as that goes. Then into Act 7, we're going to come up here and take Charisma. Now, this is going to open up some really good options for us, and I would suggest take all three. You'll see what I mean later on. We're going to take, you can take the life wheel down here if you want. If you feel your life is really, really good, you don't have to. You could come down here and take this primeval force. You could take this wheel. A lot of damage in that wheel is really, really useful. So if you feel like your life is fine, then take the damage. If you feel like your damage is fine and you're a little bit low on life, then take the life. It depends what kind of gear you've got, to be perfectly honest. I put the life in because I want this to be... The more life you have, the less likely you are to die. Which I find myself doing quite a lot. Anyway, on to Act 8, and we're going to do our second lab. We're going to come over here and take Quartz Infusion. This is going to be a really, really big defense node for us. We're going to get phasing, which means that we can just walk straight through monsters. We don't have to get blocked into a corner. I hate that. We're also getting 40% chance to suppress spell damage, and obviously we've got some evasion rating and increased LE damage, so there's damage and defense in one node. What is not to love? We're also going to take this phasing, this spell suppression wheel as well, and we can take the mastery. I think there's one with, you have phasing if you have suppressed spell damage recently, which we're always phasing because of our mastery. Or our ascendancy rather, an 8% chance to suppress spell damage while phasing. So that's going to bring our spell suppression to 100% just on the tree. We don't need any on gear. This is it's a really, really big defensive boost in Act 8. Then when it gets to Act 9, that's not there for some reason. I'm just going to put that back on. When it comes to Act 9, then we're going to come down here and then all the way across. And this is a lot of travel nodes. I know, it's really... I wish it wasn't so many travel nodes. We're going through the Wisdom of the Glade and Beef nodes, though. So if you're lacking out any intelligence or strength, then you can just take those. Really, really easy and convenient for us. And we're coming all the way over here and we're going to Surveillance. And this is going to make sure that we're in Act 9. Surveillance is very decent. 30% increased totem damage. And they have a lot of attack speed as well. And then when it comes to Act 10, just before we kill Kitava, we're going to take Panopticon, which gives us another summoned Ballista totem. So that brings us, probably with gem levels, and this, you're probably going to be around 5 or 6, certainly. We're going to take Golem's Blood, so we get regen 1.6% life per second, which is nice as well. And that's basically it for the campaign. This is what a very, very decent tree looks like. Then we're going to go into white maps. We're going to take our... also, obviously at this point we're doing our third lab. And we're taking Avatar of the Veil. And this is 50% chance to avoid elemental ailments whilst phasing. So we've got 50% ailment avoidance straight away. This is really, really good defense to have going into maps. And nearby enemies have fire, cold, and lightning exposure while you have phasing, applying -20 to those resistances. So that's a very, very good defense and damage boost to our ascendancy. We've also got Quick Step as well, so 10% chance to suppress spell damage and some extra move speed. Extra move speed is one of the best defensive modifiers in the game. I'm going to put this one on here because it should be there. And let's talk about white maps now. So at this point, I would always take this wheel if I didn't have it already. Some extra damage never hurt anyone. We're taking our Uber Lab. And for our Uber Lab, we're going to go with Way of the Poacher. So we're going to go +1 maximum frenzy charges, 20% chance to gain a frenzy charge on kill, and 20% chance to gain a frenzy charge when you hit a rare or unique enemy. And this, again, we're still with precise technique, so we still need to make sure we have a lot of accuracy and just more accuracy than we have life, and that's not too difficult really. But in white maps, we've I've got to put this node on as well. I keep forgetting that one for some reason. So we've got this wheel filled out. We got some life, we got some accuracy over here, and then we're also taking these leech nodes. So we're taking this life of mana on hit and Clever Thief. So 1% of attack damage is leeched as life and 1% is leeched as mana, and then 10% leech is instant. This is a really fantastic node. Leech is in such a tasty position at this point. I really hope they never change this. Surely they wouldn't nerf this in 3.23. All right. But this is going to be, this is going to take care of a lot of, if you have mana issues or anything like that, this is going to take care of a lot of that. Sometimes I take this during the campaign because it's such a good node. There's some extra life nodes over here. We can take that one too. And then there's some more accuracy over here as well. So these things go together because obviously we want to maintain our high accuracy. These have got accuracy and critical strike chance. We're not the crit version yet. We will get to that. But this is, this is a really nice cluster. This one dex node here gives us access to all these things, and it's a very, very useful dex node for us. So we've gone on Uber Lab. We're getting into some, tier 7 maps. We're getting into some yellow maps. So at this point, we will probably want a bit more damage, probably a bit more tankiness. So we're going to go into this dex node and then take some elemental damage with attack nodes, and then attack damage penetrates 10% of elemental resistances. And this mastery, hits have 25% chance to treat enemy monster resistance as inverted. So that means if it's got 70% resistance, which is a lot, then it's a 1 in 4 chance to treat it as minus 70, which is crazy good. So that's a really, really useful node. We're taking a dual socket. You can chuck in something useful here. It's up to you. Dual sockets, very, very underrated. I think this, for me, I would be putting either inspired learning here or, something. There's a lot of opportunities. Maybe is it ancestral vision, I think, is the one that gives you ailment avoidance at 50% of your spell suppression. And we've got 100% spell suppression. So that means we get 50% elemental avoidance, and we've got 50% avoid ailments while phasing, and we're always phasing because of this. So if you put Ancestral Vision in here, this is going to give you complete ailment avoidance, which is, I did that last league. It was really, really good. I would super recommend. But other than that, there's not much changes here. It's white maps. We're only getting a few skill points, not too many, but we make sure that we've got, aspect to the links over here. We got, make sure you got all these points filled out. And then when it comes to Frenzy, because obviously we want to go all in on our Frenzy charges, I would take these off and put these on here. So these points here, the mastery points, these cost 5 Orbs of Regret each, or 5 respec points to undo these. So to undo both of these is going to cost you 10 respec points, which is quite a lot. You only get 20 from the campaign. So I would wait till you got a little bit of money to do this. Or you could just use the ones you got from the campaign. But we're taking Onslaught off because now we're pretty well geared up. Maybe we've got an Onslaught Flask, and we're putting on Avatar of the Slaughter, and this is 10% increased evasion rating per frenzy charge, which is pretty good. 4% move speed per frenzy charge, 10% increased attack speed per frenzy charge, which is crazy. 4% increased attack speed and 10% increased attack damage per frenzy charge. So we're going to get up to I think we get to 6 or 5 to 7 frenzy charges depending on your gearing, and we're going to take Disciple of Slaughter, so you get +1 minimum frenzy charges, so you're always at 1. Then we can take Savagery, so +1 max. We can come over here, there's another one here, so you can get +1 max here. And then if you got the points for it, you can come up and get Frenetic as well. But this does bring us to level 96, which is quite a lot. So I think this is around a level, this is definitely doable for sort of a level 90 kind of zone. Maybe I would take these instead, because the amount of damage you get from being at a lot of frenzy charges is quite high. So this is a much more, I think this is level 90. You could even, what else? You could probably remove a couple of things here. You'd probably want to take this dual socket as well though, because it's so nicely positioned. And this is a very, very decent tree. You're going to be doing a lot of damage with all your frenzy charges at this point. And then eventually we're going to get to the crit swap, and the crit swap is something great to do if, say, you get to red maps and you feel like the damage is falling off. Save up a bit of money and go for the crit swap. It's going to include differences to your skill gems and gearing, and it's a sort of late game kind of tree, But this is what it looks like. We're at level 92, so this requires 2 extra levels, and you get quite a lot more damage. So we've got our the main differences are this area is pretty much untouched, but obviously these crit strike chance wheels are very, very useful. Also, just so you know, in the path of building, you can hit the compare button, and then you can see what has been added in red. Or maybe if we swap them around the other way. So the green stuff has been added, and the red stuff has been taken away. So actually, this shouldn't be taken away, but regardless. So we're removing the attack speed one, and we're taking the crit strike version of this. We're adding in these crit strike nodes here. We're adding in these evasion and life ones. You don't actually have to have these. These are just really, really nice to have if you're lacking on life a bit. We're taking off the suppression stuff because we get our suppression in a bunch of other ways. We're taking off these int and strength because you probably got these on gear by now. You probably don't need it on the tree so much, and tree nodes are quite expensive. And we're just taking off this whole area over here. So if we go to, so this is the yellow maps with the frenzy charges on it, and then we go to the red maps and the crit swap, then we're just along this spine of the tree here. And we've got this lethality, so this is crit strike chance and crit multi all the way around here. This is really, really strong for bows. With this, you could actually take, I think, this side now as well, because this is the effect of non-damaging ailments, which is basically chill and shock. And you can take these ones off, because this is the percent chance to freeze, shock, and ignite. We're doing all 3 ailments. You apply those ailments when you crit, and we're going to be critting all the time because that's, it's a crit build now. So this is a pretty lean tree at this point. Here you can fit in an inspired learning, and you have the 4 nodes, 1, 2, 3, 4 necessary for you to get like little mini headhunter buffs. That's really, really good node. Here you cannot do that unless you take infused. So then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and power charges, great. We don't really have a way to gain power charges, so I wouldn't really bother with that. I would put something else here if you can, but this spot is a great spot for an inspired learning. And even if you haven't taken, like Heartseeker or something, you still got aspect to the links over here. So that's it for red maps and crit. Now let's start to talk about the skills. All right, so let's talk about our skills in Act 1, and I've tried to select things that are going to be useful, or they're going to be offered to you as rewards, so that you don't have to buy too much. So Act 1, kill Hillock, you're going to get given Caustic Arrow. Take Caustic Arrow, you can take Mirage Archer and LMP as soon as you get access to those, and chuck them in a 3-link. And that's going to be your damage through most of Act 1. It's going to be pretty comfy. You get offered Shrapnel Ballista, you can buy Pierce, and then just a 2-link for that is really good. This is really good to dump down some Shrapnel Ballistas as you're running past monsters, hit them with a Caustic Arrow, they'll attack the Ballistas, they'll sit in the Caustic stuff, they'll die, you'll get flash charges, you'll get XP, amazing. And then Dash and Precision, and that's it for Act 1. In Act 1 though, if you pick up maybe an added cold damage with attacks and a faster attacks, that's really useful for later on, and you can offhand level those. So if you don't know what I mean by offhand leveling, you have two sets of weapons. You can hit it with X by default, and in here I can go and buy from Lily some kind of green one. Well, let's take faster damage with attacks, for example. I can chuck that in there, and then I go around killing stuff with this setup, and this gem gets XP. So later on, when that gem comes in handy, spoiler alert, then it'll be leveled, so you'll get it'll be nice and ready for you, so you don't lose out on too much damage. So that's for Act 1. Take the faster damage with attacks if you can afford it. I think it costs a transmute or some wisdom scroll, something like that. Then we're into Lightning Arrow in Act 2. You get offered this as a reward in Act 1. I would take it. I would immediately equip it, and I think it's once you get to Merveil's Caverns. So as soon as you get to Merveil's Caverns, if you're following the how to level through the campaign faster videos that I've done, then you should be offered this once you go get your reward for killing Fairgraves. So take the lightning damage and just chuck out Caustic Arrow, throw it on the ground, and put Lightning Arrow in its place, and you'll have Lightning Arrow, Mirage Archer, and LMP straight away. Shrapnel Ballista, you can chuck in the added cold damage, maybe that you took from Act 1, and you've been offhand leveling, and add it in with elemental damage with attacks, which will get offered in Act 2 for, I think it's for killing the Weaver. And you can take another one of these and offhand level it. And then when it comes to, you save Helena, you get offered a Herald. Take Herald of Ash. Herald of Ash, whilst we're not, maybe not doing lots and lots of fire damage, the overburn damage is incredibly good here. Like, you'll notice that you hit one guy in a pack and the rest of the pack dies. And it's because of Herald of Ash and the sort of explosions you get. We got dash, we got precision, nothing much different here. In Act 3, this is when you'll finally get access to 4 links. You may not get 4 links. I usually get them around Act 4. So if you get a 4 link, just you want a red, green, green, green. Do not throw chromes at these. Don't do it. Don't throw chromes at these. If you get like a 4 green, don't throw chromes at it, because I mean I always do, and I'm always disappointed. So it like rarely happens that I get it. At lower levels, the likelihood of you getting off colors is incredibly high, versus at higher levels where it's a lot lower. So here's what your setup will look like. You still want to have Lightning Arrow, Mirage Archer, and less multiple projectiles. If you find on the floor, or you're offered by a vendor, a 3 green and 1 red, chuck elemental damage with attacks in there. Remember, you can get that in Act 2. And the same goes for your Artillery Ballista, because we will be given Artillery Ballista as a reward for killing Gravicious. And this is basically going to be our setup for most of the rest of the game. So you'll want Artillery Ballista, added cold, elemental damage with attacks, and faster attacks. And honestly, I would put faster attacks as the #1 thing. Like, the attack speed on Artillery Ballista really does help. But this is a really good setup. So if you get a 4 link, this is what you want it to look like. So you're going to have 2 4 links. And I would recommend to not have either of those 4 links as either the bow or your boots. And the reason for that is your bow you want to be constantly upgrading throughout the campaign. If you find an essence, I always chuck it on whatever the new bow in that league is, in that act is. So if I'm in, I think it's Act 4, you get access to Grove bows finally. And I find a Whispering Essence of Anger. I think that's the fire one. Then I'm going to throw that essence on that bow and then see if it's better than the one I have. And that means you don't want to have sockets on that, because then you've got responsibility for changing DPS and sockets at the same time. And changing sockets in the campaign is a pain in the butt. So, and the same goes for your boots. Your boots, you probably want to have move speed on. If you find new boots and they've got move speed on, you probably want to just be able to throw those boots on. So I would recommend having this in either the helmet, the gloves, or the body armor. And there's a really good reason for that, because changing the other items is really, really a pain. So you can see here, my bow, I've got nothing socketed in it. These boots, I think they've got precision. Yeah, sniper's mark on trigger hit. That's it. So you don't want to have, you're so starved for sockets and links during the campaign. So at the end game, it doesn't matter. You find jewelers and fusings all the time. You're going to be fine. You're going to be able to make a 4 link. But during the campaign, do not do it. And then we're going to have dash, Herald of Ash, and precision. That's it. And then when we get to Act 4, we're going to throw in greater multiple projectiles. We get this for finishing Act 4. We get this from, I think it's Lady Diala. So just chuck out your lesser multiple projectiles and put in greater multiple projectiles. Now you got even better cover with your clear skill. And nothing changes with Artillery Ballista. Nothing changes with this. Act 5 to 6. I think this is actually like Act 6 to 10. Lightning Arrow is going to be the same thing. Artillery Ballista is going to be the same thing. We're going to... I should change this to read Act 5 to Act 6 to 10. Let's just do that right now. So this is once you finish the first part of the campaign, and you've gone to Lionel's Watch again, and you've cleared out the Twilight Strand for Lily. She gives you access to buy any gem, and you could do the library with Siosa, But this is way quicker, and you just have to wait like an act. It's not that bad. Well, maybe 2 acts. I then take Flame Dash, which I keep at level 1 because I just want it for the mobility. I don't want it for the damage the fire does or anything like that. It's nice to ignite stuff with it every so often, but honestly, I just want it for the movement. We've got Herald of Ash, we've got Precision already. So we're just swapping out Flame Dash for Dash, and then Sniper's Mark and Mark on Hit. This is a great combo because every time you hit a rare or unique enemy, they got a little woobly woo above their head, and they will start to take more damage. So Sniper's Mark basically curses a single enemy, increasing the damage they take from projectiles. We only do projectiles. And making projectiles split when hitting them to hit other targets. So they take 35% increased projectile damage, which is fantastic for us. So Sniper's Mark, Mark on Hit, really good. This is the kind of thing I would keep in my bow if I was going to have it. Because bows, you can get 2 green links during the campaign very easily. But one of these things would never put in the bow. This is the kind of stuff you could also put in your boots as well. Because well, maybe not boots actually. Something like this I would keep in my boots. Because boots, they could be all different kinds of colors. Whereas bows are always going to be like lots of green sockets. And then, because we've, on our tree in Act 6, or Act 7 maybe? Act 7, yeah, we've taken Charisma. At this point, we've got Precision and Herald of Ash. Those are really, really good. And we can now, because we've got Charisma, fit in a 3rd aura. And this is up to you. This is your choice. If you feel that your damage is very, very low and you're never dying, take Anger, because Anger gives you a bunch of extra damage, a bunch of extra fire damage. If you feel like if your resistances are really not doing too good because you've just finished, Act 6, or you just finished Act 5, you got the minus 30 from Kitava. Purity of Elements is a great choice because you get just like, even at level 1, I think it's like 20 something all res. Yeah, 20 all res, and you're immune to elements as well, which is really, really strong early on. Even at level 1, it's great. So you could chuck on Purity of Elements if you're having issues gearing. I'm usually not doing too great on gearing in the campaign because I'm zooming. Or if you're dying to a lot of very small hits, then Determination is also very good as well. This helps if you have a lot of extra armor pieces as well. Obviously, it makes it even better, but Determination, really good if you're dying a lot. Purity of Elements, really good if you're dying a lot and you're not LE capped. If you're not dying at all and your damage is a little lacking, take Anger. You can take one, or you can take none of these. I'm not your dad. I can't tell you what to do. But once we're through the campaign, we're getting into white maps, and this is where we're going to hopefully find a 5-link, maybe. I would hope so. So if you're going to get a 5-link, basically the only thing I would change is adding Trinity to Lightning Arrow, and that's going to give us a truck ton of damage. Obviously, you want to be doing all 3 elements. So Trinity, the way it works is when you hit stuff, you gain Trinity in the elements that you do damage that has the highest hit. So if you're doing, 10 fire damage, 3 lightning damage, and 3 cold damage, you'll get a bunch of fire Trinity. And I think maybe do I have it in here? Yes, I do. So we could just go and have a look actually. And it gives you a lot more damage essentially. So it's but you need to be doing every kind of. So here we go. This is what you get resonance. So hits with supported skills by Trinity, for which the highest damage type is elemental damage, causes you to gain resonance of other elements. So if I do a really, really big fire hit, I'm going to get cold and lightning resonance. If I do a really big lightning hit, I'm going to get cold and fire. And obviously lightning damage is very spiky because it's got a very high top tier and a very low bottom tier. So what I mean by that is, let's just kill some stuff. Maybe this is a bad map to do this in, but lightning damage will have ranges like 1 to 5,000, and fire damage will have ranges like 480 to 490. So this allows us to frequently hit high with lightning damage and frequently hit high with other damage types as well, because when the lightning damage is not good, let's take a look at this. So we got 2,432 to 4,283 cold damage, and then 176 to 3,335 lightning. So the cold damage has got very, it's pretty high overall. And then we've also got fire damage, 785 to 1,990. So it's conceivable that we'll rubber band in between doing a big lightning hit and not. So Trinity support gives you a bunch of extra, I think it's 3% more elemental damage per resonance, and you get up to 25 resonance. So it could be quite, let's see. Oh, supported skills deal 3% more elemental damage per 5 of lowest resonance. So yeah, so you can get up to like 15% more if you have 4 resonance. So what you want to be doing is you want to be doing all types of damage, all elemental types of damage on your lightning arrow and on your artillery ballista if possible. But for your lightning arrow, which is one supported by Trinity, you want to make sure that you're doing all 3 types of elemental damage. And this can be achieved very easily by using those essences we talked about earlier on, and also just with the crafting bench. Just go over to the crafting bench, and if you have, fire and cold, then you can just go down and take the, not increase lightning damage, that would be bad. Take the flat. So where is the flat one? So lightning damage 2 attacks. This is what you want. So just add this in, and then you'll get some lightning damage on your stuff, and you'll be really comfy with Trinity. So Trinity, really good, but you have to be doing all 3 types of damage, all 3 types of elemental damage. Honestly, for white maps, you only need a 4 link for artillery ballista. If you get another one, I would put in life tap here. Precision, Herald of Ash, Flame Dash, the exact same stuff for that. Sniper's Mark and Mark on hit. I would put life tap in here, because we're going to move away from using mana quite a bit, and this is a great way to get used to it. That means it consumes your life in order to cast this. And we've got like a bunch of regen from Golem Blood. We've got 1.6% regen there. And you may get some extra stuff on gear. So that's going to be actually pretty comfortable, especially once you've got the leech nodes. So when we get into the yellow to red maps, we've got a 5 link for sure. We've got a 5 link now, and we probably got a 5 link for artillery ballista as well. So we're going to chuck in life tap on that as well. We're keeping these, and then obviously you've chosen either anger or anger or determination or purity of elements. At this point, I would be moving more towards either determination, because stuff in red maps and yellow maps hits pretty hard. So I would go more defensive. It's up to you. If you feel like you're never dying, then keep going with anger. But if you feel like you're having some issues with it, then consider purity of elements or consider determination instead. And then for the endgame and crit swap, now we're going to have 6 links. 6 links. And we're in crit mode now as well. Also, we're taking Val Lightning Arrow. Now, Val Lightning Arrow, just in case you didn't know, you can go over here to Lily, and we can buy some lightning arrow gems. I think, is it that one? No, it's caustic arrow. Where's lightning arrow? Here we go. So we get some lightning arrow gems, and we get some Val gems, Val orbs. And this is difficult to get early on. I would honestly recommend running the Val side areas to try and get Val Lightning Arrow. You can do that from level 16 onwards. You can get Val Lightning Arrow from those. And you just do this. And here's one that hit. You can tell because the little arrow thing on it turned red. And Val Lightning Arrow allows us to basically, once we kill stuff, I can just put this in here. And I'm going to put this on Val Lightning Arrow. This one on regular arrow. And Val Lightning Arrow gives you, if you can pick this up early, great for you. If you can't, you can wait for it. It's not a huge thing. It's really nice to have. It's really good against bosses. But I got to put this one on. There we go. So you can see here, this is the Val Lightning Arrow skill. And the more I kill, the more souls, literally souls, will fill up my Val Lightning Arrow thing. And then now I can use it. And I do that. And you see all these arrows zooming around everywhere. So this is Vol Lightning Arrow. It's pretty useful for bosses and that kind of stuff. It gives you a little bit extra DPS. Obviously, I actually have that's a level 1 Lightning Arrow, so that's maybe a bad example. Can we hit Vol Lightning Arrow with... No, damn it. So yeah, Vol Lightning Arrow, this is what we're going into with this build. Once you get... it's got projectiles pierce all targets, which is really, really nice. Fizz damage converted to lightning damage. Fires 4 additional arrows. Obviously, that goes up if you've got some of those nodes that we talked about allocated. But Vol Lightning Arrow does... It's really, really good clear and single target. I use it all the time. And it's new, I think, last league. Artillery Ballista. We've gone life tap, increased crit strikes, and increased critical damage. And we're keeping the added cold and added damage with attack. So this is a really, really solid 6-link for Artillery Ballista. You're going to do so much more damage with this. For Sniper's Mark and Mark on Hit, we're putting life tap on that as we had before, and Flame Dash. So now we've got a 4-link, and we can just use life for that. We can use life for this, and we can use life for this. That means we don't have to... choose our auras anymore. We're probably not going to take maybe we'll take like determination, but then we're also going to be able to fit in a bunch of other stuff. So we're going to have precision, which is going to be provided by our amulet, so it's going to be level 30 precision, but also 100% mana reservation efficiency of precision. We're going to have herald, so herald of ash for the overburn, and then we're probably going to go with, I don't know, like a war banner or something. Pretty useful, or Defiance Banner, because that gives us a bit extra tankiness. And you can see here I've got unreserved mana. That's bad, but these are some good auras to have. This is probably what I would go with, or you could just go with Determination and Grace, and that gives you Grace will give you a lot of a lot of dodge chance, so you'll get hit less. And when you do get hit, you've got Determination. So it's up to you what kind of auras you want. If you find you're dying a lot, go for defensive auras. It's fine. It's okay. This is what the end game setup looks like. I can't recommend this build enough, honestly. Let's talk about some items real quick, and that's basically going to be it for the guide. All right, and items, honestly, just fill it out with whatever you want. There's not too much. There's some stuff for when you get going into the late game, but at the beginning you're just going to be going with like 10% move speed boots or something like that. A lapis amulet, because it gives you int, and that's really good. If you can get a lapis amulet, fine. I just take stuff I find on the ground. I think rustic sashes are the best type to go with for belts. Sometimes I go with the strength implicit belt because it's just more comfy for stats and stuff like that. When it comes to Act 2, it's the same stuff. Just whatever you want to take. Once you get into early maps, you get some money. I would suggest a Prism Weave is probably the best belt you're going to get for a lot, until you get like a Maze Blood or something like that. Prism Weave has got a bunch of flat damage, which is really good, and it's got some all res as well, and 30% increased elemental damage with attack skills during any flask effect. Really strong. And if you're struggling with the resistances, just go with a rare belt with lots of resistances on it. You just want to be filling out these resistances wherever you can. Get move speed on your boots. For your weapon, your bow, every time you come across either anger, wrath, or the other essence, the cold one, or even a contempt essence, or an anger essence, or a rage essence. Maybe not rage, actually, sorry. But any of the wrath, any of the ones that do like added flat, hatred. So hatred, wrath, and anger. If you find one of those essences, pop it out, and when you come across, when you get to a new act, then there'll be a new bow base type to be able to buy. And you could buy one or just pick one up off the floor. ID it if it's off the floor. See if it gives you more damage. If it doesn't, throw it straight back on the floor, or sell it and get some alch shards. But if you find a white bow, just chuck one of these essences on it when you find them in the campaign, and then check to see if you get extra damage from it. I use Awaken PoE Trade, and I can just hit this, and it tells me what the total DPS is. So whenever I'm in the campaign and I find a bow on the ground, I just do that. Really easy. I just like, oh, what does my current weapon give me? 800 and something. What does my next weapon give me? Oh, way less. Okay, well, I'm going to drop it on the floor. Or way more. Okay, I'm going to swap it, and then that's it. And the same can be said for your quiver as well. If you want to add in flat damage to attacks, or if there's resistances, then just chuck that on the quiver. Maybe you could go for a crew reward. This is something I did last league as well. I really, it was really good because it gives you prod speed, it gives you prod damage, it gives you move speed, it gives you strength as well, which is quite nice. Other than that, you could go for, there is one type of amulet that has an implicit for strength and intelligence. Obviously that's pretty good because it's strength and intelligence starved, this build, so maybe you want to take that. And then when it comes to late maps, the Poised Prism, honestly, best in slot for this build. It's got resistances, it's got flat damage per strength, dexterity, intelligence, that kind of stuff. Really, really good. Would highly recommend. And again, it was one div when it was like the first couple, and then you wait like a few hours and it's nothing. It's a very, very common drop. Shadows and Dust, S++ tier. It gives you crit strike chance, it gives you crit multi, but it gives you Rampage. And Rampage is incredibly good. It's an incredibly good mechanic. Once you start killing a bunch of stuff, when you got Rampage, let's take this Infested Valley map, and doesn't have, this build can do everything apart from reflect elemental damage and no regen. And once you have all the life taps set up, then it can do all of those things, except for reflect elemental. And if you get a very good elemental damage with attacks, like a awakened elemental damage with attacks thing, then do I actually have those gloves on? I don't actually have those gloves. There's no point in me showing you. I don't have those gloves on. But Rampage essentially gives you, I think it's a bunch of extra attack speed and move speed per Rampage stack. So it's like kill streaks. And it goes up to 1,000. It stacks up to 1,000. So if you can kill 1,000 things, then you've got like 50%, I think it's 50% extra move speed and like 100% extra attack damage. Really, really strong mechanic. Would definitely recommend that you get Shadows and Dust. They're like 1 alch usually in the first day. Really, really good gloves to get. Here is Truth. Probably the best in slot amulet we can get as well. It gives us level 30 precision and 100% increased minor reservationcy of precision as well. So it makes precision very, very cheap to run. It also gives us bow attacks have culling strike, which is nice. So we get culling. And it gives some other stuff like crit multi, obviously great once we've gone on crit swap. The taming I would recommend. It is a really it gives you some good elemental resistances, and it gives you so much elemental damage. Oh, there's so much elemental damage with this ring, it's nuts. Really, really good for damage if you don't have a lot of it. Death Rush, this is going to cost a lot. Like taming will cost a bit. Here is Truth, I think, cost like a couple of chaos. Shadows and Dust cost me, I think, 1 or 2 chaos. Poised Prism cost me more than I would have liked. Death Rush is going to cost a bunch because it can give you adrenaline. And do yourself a favor, don't get adrenaline for 1 second on kill. Get it for 2 or 3. The recover life on kill stuff, it doesn't really matter what that is. But you can get this to 20. There's 23 chaos res, which is nice, gives you a bit more tankiness towards chaos stuff. But gaining adrenaline gives you so much. I think it's like 100% increased attack and move speed. It's nuts. It's like having 5 times onslaught. It's insane. If you can get a Death Rush, do. If you have the money, get one. You will notice a huge difference because this is a very, this is a map clear build. When it comes to late maps, basically, you could chuck a hoop of all on if you're missing some kind of resistances or attributes or something. This is pretty useful, but this is essentially what I would recommend. When it comes to flasks, you just want a granite flask with armor during effect and used when charges reaches full. You want a diamond flask with maybe evasion or increased crit chance. You want a quicksilver flask with move speed. You want a jade flask with evasion or crit chance or whatever you're missing from these ones, and then a life flask with corrupted blood. That's it. Honestly, this build so good. I've not played a build that was this easy at League launch for such a long time. I'm going to be playing this. If you have questions about this build, I'm streaming pretty much every day on twitch.tv/lifewithoutpants. Swing by, say hi, ask me questions about this build. I'm more than happy to answer. If if you're willing to invest some time in the questions and the answers, I'm so happy to have you and to chat with you. And yeah, that's it for this build guide. Obviously the link is going to be in the description below. I'm going to put out a few more videos before League launch on what my plans are, how we're going to make some money. Legion's looking less good than it was last League. But yeah, I'm still going to put out a few videos on how to make a bunch of money. I think there's at least 5 strats I can think of that have earned me either a Mage Blood or a Headhunter in the first week of the League. So I'm going to make something about those. They're strats that haven't really been nerfed or changed as far as I can tell. So if you like this video, please subscribe, like it, so other people can see it. I love you all very much. I hope you're kind to everyone you meet. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.